My name is Anna Radonsky. Good morning, Your Honor. Thank you for the opportunity to address the court. Can everybody hear me? Our family would like to thank the jury, Attorney Stein, Attorney Durso, Inspector Winkler, Inspector Hyatt, the entire state attorney's office, Ansonia Police Department, members of the FBI, and both victims' advocates for Mika Fountain and Jenny Abuto, and all who took the stand in this trial. I will never know how the vicarious trauma impacted all of you, but we will be forever grateful. My name is Anna Radonsky, and I am the youngest of 6 children. Christine Holloway is my first niece. I called her Chrissy. Debbie, Chrissy's mother, is my oldest sister. My other sister, Kathy, died at 34 years old of lymphoma, and that was the worst day of my life. I didn't think I would experience another worse day like that. However, my beautiful, brilliant, kind, caring, spiritual niece was brutally murdered on 12/2/2019. How does one even begin to start to tell how this has affected my life as well as our family and friends? I would like to start with some background about Chrissy. She was the first person in our family, in her family, to obtain a bachelor's degree. She and I shared a bond with our faith. I chose Christina as my confirmation name because I loved her so much. She loved children, she loved her job, and taking care of so many adorable children at the daycare where she was employed. She was passionate and full of love. I moved to Nashville in October 2019 for a new job, and Chrissy and I would FaceTime with Vanessa during bath time or dinner. We supported each other's passions. She would open the freezer door while Vanessa was playing with her toys, and as soon as Vanessa heard the freezer door opening, she knew it was frozen mango time, and she would crawl as fast as she could, giggling all the way. I hope wherever she is now, she is still enjoying her frozen mangoes. On 12/2/2019, Chrissy was taken away from us, and Vanessa has yet to be found. My sister, Debbie, was left devastated and in shock. They say the worst pain is a mother losing their child. I watched my mom suffer through the loss of my sister, 34 years old, and now I watch my other sisters suffer through that same loss without Chrissy, and then some, with Vanessa still missing. Not to mention that 8 months after Chrissy was murdered, on August 7th, 2020, my oldest nephew, Chrissy's brother, John Holloway, lost his battle with gastric cancer, leaving his daughter behind for us to raise. Again, my sister lost another child, and Vanessa is still missing. I moved my mom from Connecticut to Nashville with me to get her away from all of the news and media in Connecticut because it was just too much for her. Chrissy was her first grandchild, and her great-granddaughter is missing. I listened to her cry, and we would hold each other as tight as we could, and the tears would continue and continue. There is nothing to say, just tears. She would say, "Anna, why? Why?" There is no answer, still no answer. My mom is my best friend, and she passed away in August 2023 at 97 years old. I wanted her to stay here forever, but I'm grateful that she didn't have to witness this trial. I know she is in heaven with her husband and my sister Kathy, and Chrissy and John Holloway, and I know that they are taking care of each other. In preparation for Chrissy's funeral, our family tackled it as a team. We each had a job to do, and my task was to go to the Gates of Heaven Cemetery and make the arrangements. As we drove that day, so many thoughts were going through our hearts and souls. Vanessa's still missing. When we arrived at the cemetery, we were welcomed by the staff with opening and caring arms. We had to ask them if there is a way they could dig the hole for Chrissy a little bit deeper in case Vanessa had to join her. Let me repeat that. We had to ask if they could dig the hole a little deeper in case Vanessa would be joining her. Nobody should ever have to think about asking that question. Nobody. How does one go on? I recall packing my suitcase to come home after Chrissy was murdered. I packed warm winter clothes and boots because I thought I would be looking for Vanessa in the cold woods. I packed clothes for a wake and funeral for my 43-year-old niece. It all seemed surreal. I walked through the airport looking for Vanessa. Stephen and I took on the task of cleaning Chrissy's apartment once released from the police and detectives. I will never forget when we opened the door and broke down crying in each other's arms. Once again, we had to carry on. As we were cleaning the apartment, we would go to the kitchen sink and wash our hands. I noticed water coming out from under the sink. A piece of the pipe was missing and there was no bucket anywhere. I thought this was weird. I thought to myself that perhaps the police took it to see if there was any evidence on it from someone else washing their hands. It was not until the trial that I learned that the pipe was removed with the garbage disposal and my brilliant niece's skull pieces were located. Well, most of the pieces anyway. I have PTSD from the sound of garbage disposals now, and I jump out of my skin. I can't wash a pot after having beets for dinner because the beet juice in the sink reminds me of blood. Stephen and I cleaned and packed up the apartment, taking multiple breaks as we had to hold each other up from sadness, shock, and exhaustion. I thought the missing carpet cutout from the investigation was the only part of Chrissy's nightmare. I was advised by my family and friends not to read anything online because of the graphic nature of the situation. I cleaned the bathroom with Stephen, only to find out during the trial for the first time that Chrissy's body was found in the bathroom and the carpet cutout was just the beginning of her torture. How has this affected me? Emotionally, I have anxiety, depression, and PTSD. I have a psychiatrist and a therapist, and I'm on 3 medications to help me. I have severe insomnia, and I feel like someone is going to walk behind me and kill me every night when I go to sleep. I added an alarm to my apartment. I got a weighted blanket. I adopted a rescue dog from the Humane Society who actually rescued me. I have PTSD from the sound on the phone for the Amber Alerts. I had to remove it from my phone because it was such a trigger for me. I had a friend, Patrick, move in with me to help me feel safe. He couldn't be here today because his flight was yesterday to go home. He too rescued me. I had just started a new job and relocated to Nashville, and I couldn't just pack my bags and run home to my family. Instead, I had to carry on in anger, sadness, and fear for years. I am a cardiology physician assistant, and I am an expert at my job, sir. I am an expert at my job. I had to remove myself from the courtroom to avoid being present for the medical examiner's testimony, as I would know exactly what she was describing, and I didn't want to know more than I already found out. One day during the trial, my sister and I stepped out of the courtroom because of the graphic detail. We were sobbing uncontrollably, and this young man came up to us and said, "I don't know what you're going through, but would you like a hug?" We held him so tight and cried so hard. And then I told him the story. He now has Vanessa's story too, and I thank the Lord for the kindness in his heart. I really think that was Chrissy sending him to us. Every day at court in April, I would look into the eyes of that monster because my only voice was my eyes. Well, now I am not done speaking. I have since moved back to Connecticut, and I spend my time making colored copies of Vanessa's missing child photo and hand them to people and hang them everywhere I go. I've gone to pediatricians' offices, parks, libraries, and beaches distributing them. When I am out to dinner, I always sign the receipt for "Pray for Christine Holloway and please find Vanessa." Your Honor, how this murder has affected our family and friends cannot be described. What was done to my niece, Christine Holloway, is unforgivable and disgusting, and that monster continues to lie. Where is Vanessa? How could someone be so cruel? I hope that he stays in prison forever and ever, so he can't hurt anyone else ever again. I hope every day in prison is hurtful for him and awful in every way imaginable. We will never stop searching for Vanessa and sharing our story. We ask that everyone continues to pray for us. The last thing that I want to read is this note that I found in Chrissy's apartment. This is her writing. Her letter. And she says to all the first-time moms, "As I sit here and watch my 9-month-old daughter feed herself, I look back on our journey. She is slowly becoming more independent already. She feeds herself, holds her cup, and tries to walk. Each of her firsts are my last, as I do not think I can have another baby. I was high risk because of my age. Bittersweet, but all worth it." The author, Christine Holloway. I also found a little card that I had sent Chrissy in the mail. And it says, "Thanks for all of the FaceTimes with my baby girl. I love them, and you have no idea how much it touches my heart. I love you, Chrissy." I can no longer write cards to my niece, but I know that Christine Holloway is here in this courtroom today, and I thank God for his strength. Thank you.